Welcome to Grounded Spirits Podcast, a place where we're learning how to stay rooted while flying high. I'm your host, Laura Lynn, and we are looking at the Emerald Tablets today. We are on the 6th one, which is called the Key of Magic. So hopefully we can get some magical tips today while we learn to grow our roots and be more secure within our own selves and find the inspiration and the opportunity to fly high and feel truly free. Alright, so we're just going to jump right in. Hark ye, O man, to the wisdom of magic. Hark the knowledge of powers forgotten. Long ago, in the days of the first man, warfare began between darkness and light. Man then, as now, were filled with both darkness and light. And while in some darkness held sway, in other light filled the soul. So he's basically saying that darkness and light, it's a tale as old as time, that these have never gotten along. But I think it's more than that. I think it's going to like the whole yin and yang thing, that one cannot exist without the other. If there was no light, we wouldn't have the concept of it, and we would just be in darkness, and we would just assume that this is what life is. We wouldn't know about the good. And if everything was good, then we would find things to complain about within the good. We need that darkness to counteract it. I cannot remember the name of this film to save my life right now, but it's with Selma Hayek and, oh my gosh, how do I not remember his name? Owen Wilson, there we go. And it's a movie about this utopian society. And it's so utopian, it's so perfect, in fact, that people are just bored. There's nothing exhilarating anymore because there's nothing to fear. Because fear or anxiety is the same as excitement. We need the fear to feel alive. And it's been interesting how people in my life have been using the word anxious differently. I'm a writer, so people have been saying, I'm anxious to read your work. And that's so strange to me because I only ever think about anxious, like the word anxious, as something bad, as something that I want to avoid, but we can always see the good side of it. And there was a great quote, actually I'm going to try to find it because it's that great of a quote, that I would like to read it to you, that talked about the differences. Here it is. That was cool. I actually went like right to it. It says, all mystical traditions view the enlightened person as someone who has seen beyond the illusion of opposites. And that was said by Howard Sasportas. And it's true. The more that you learn, the more that you see that there is no difference between good and bad, that there is nothing that is truly good or truly bad. Everything is a mixture of it. And so we have to stop hating ourselves for things that is just a part of us. We just have to love every single part of us. And even though that is sometimes very difficult to do, I think that it's really important to love every single part of us. So yeah, moving right along. Actually, last thing about that, about loving every single part of us, because everybody's always hating on Eve for eating the apple, right? But I think that she was just loving both sides of her, the goodness and the darkness. And I don't think it was like being led into temptation. I think that it was an active choice that she wanted to know. And God just wanted to protect her, right? But she was like, no, like I'm ready for the next evolution of humanity and getting to know our darkness, because I think God just wanted us to see our light. God was trying to protect us from the darkness. But he is like, no, if we don't have the darkness, then we can't feel those extremes of intense highs and low lows. We need them both. Okay, now we can move on. So now we're on the second verse. This is on page 36 if you're following along with me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just send me an email or a DM saying like PDF, and I will send you this PDF for free. Okay. Second verse. I, age old in this warfare, the eternal struggle between darkness and light. Fiercely is it fought all through the ages, using strange powers hidden to man. A depth has there been filled with the blackness, struggling always against the light. But others there are who, filled with brightness, have ever conquered the darkness of night. Wherever ye may be, in all ages and plain, surely ye shall know of the battle with the night. And Saint John of the Cross was a writer in like the 1500s, I want to say. And he talks about the dark night of the soul. And in the spiritual community, we always talk about this too, like the point of no return. Like, where were you in your spiritual journey when you knew you could never go back to like quote unquote normalcy? You could never view the world the way that you once did before the spiritual awakening. And I feel like that's what Thoth is trying to get at here. That there is always the struggle between darkness and light. That there is always going to be this time in one's life where we have to conquer the darkness of night. And how he says, ye shall know the battle with night. I think it's important for every single person to know about this, because if they just are all in the light, then they become oblivious and they become unaware of the realities of life. And in order for one to be truly free, one needs to have responsibility. It's not possible to feel truly free without the responsibility, because then that freedom turns into a prison. It turns into darkness with isolation, because as humans, we are social creatures, and it's important for us to connect with others. And so we need to have that responsibility, but we also need to know what darkness is, because that's how we become empathetic. Continuing on. Long ages ago, the sons of the morning, sons is S-U-N-S, and it's fully capitalized, whereas morning is just the M. Long ages ago, the sons of the morning, descending, found the world filled with night. There, in that past, began the struggle, the age-old battle, darkness and light. Battle is capitalized, darkness is capitalized, just the first letter, and light. So what this is reminding me of is with like Lucifer, the morning star, or the morning light, So like these suns, even though it's with S-U, it could also mean S-O. So like the sons of God. And I don't know where, but I think, like, I don't know where like the origin is, but we all always hear about these stories of like the archangels having to like duke it out with darkness, because they're the light, But I think this is also referring back to, in the beginning, there was darkness, and then there was light. God said, let there be light, right? So from Genesis 1. So I think he's just like trying to talk about like how it all began. Next verse. Many in the time were so filled with darkness that only feebly flamed the light from the night. This happens across culture, time, space. Everybody, everything that I've read, everybody talks about how you can't find your light when you're in the light. That you need to be surrounded by darkness for your light to appear. And even though it is scary, that's why it says only feebly flamed. Like, people were scared to do it because if you show your light, it's like you're standing out. Now you're a target. If you can be seen, then you can be hunted. You can be ripped apart, metaphorically or physically. And I think that's why so many people, especially communities of color, we're taught from a really young age we're taught to not be seen. That it's not safe to be seen. When that's the furthest from the truth. Now, of course, at one time it was. And that trauma has stayed with our people. But that's what I feel like our generation is for. And I say our generation because it doesn't matter when you were born. If you're listening to this and it resonates with you, then it is up to you. It's our generation's responsibility to break this generational curse. And oftentimes we talk about generational curses within families. But I would say that it's the whole people, it's the whole group of us. It's not just my family or your family, because when it comes down to it, we are part of the same family. We are all children of God. So that's why I think that now is our time to be seen and keep reminding ourselves that it is safe to be seen. Some they were masters of darkness who sought to fill all with their darkness. This is a classic hurt people. If I'm full of darkness and I see your light, I want to smother it because I want you to be like me. I want you to be dark, right? So it's hurt people. I'm going to read that part again. This is at the bottom of page 36. Some they were masters of darkness who sought to fill all with their darkness, sought to draw others into their night. Fiercely withstood they, the masters of brightness. Fiercely fought they from the darkness of night. Sought ever to tighten the fetters, the chains that bind men to the darkness of night. Used they always the dark magic, brought into men by the power of darkness, magic that enshrouded man's soul with darkness. So I love this imagery of chains that bind men to the darkness of night. We're doing a special edition series of Taylor Swift's The Torture Poets Department right now here on Grounded Spirits podcast. And throughout the entire anthology, she's referring to these chains that bind her to the darkness of night. She gets really, really dark talking. Actually, she, throughout the whole thing, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is a battle of darkness and light. She uses a lot of, like, death and kill, die, ghosts, break, broken, crack, lock, vault, caged, obviously tortured poets, right? So the album's called. This really dark imagery, and then juxtaposes it with the light. She talks about the flames. She talks about the danger of heat. talks about fire, about her wildness, about all of this brightness. And then it's her heart that's out there, that's engraved into the album. So it's like we're listening to her emotions that we all relate to, because she's gotten to the point where she does feel safe being seen. Whereas before, I don't think she did. So it's just so interesting that these two works, the Emerald Tablets and the Tortured Poets Department, were written millennia apart, yet they are touching at the same thing, at this battle of darkness and light, this battle that has been taking place and will forever take place. And I think that the only way to cease fire is to accept them both and love them both. Banded together as an order, brothers of darkness. That is all in caps, brothers of darkness. Sheesh. Let's read that again. Banded together as an order, brothers of darkness. They through the ages, antagonist, they to the children of men. Walked they always, secret and hidden, found, yet not found, by the children of man. So that's interesting. Why did he switch that? Antagonist they to the children of men, and then, yet not found by the children of man. So, okay, what I'm thinking is men is like the plural of all of the ancestors. If we're let's just go with the Christian faith just for this moment, but it could be applied to anybody, right? So any creation story, it's like their ancestors. But when it's saying the singular man, I think it's saying like child of God. So I'm going to read this part again. It says, banded together as an order, brothers of darkness, they through the ages, antagonists they to the children of men, walked they always secret and hidden, found yet not found by the children of man. Yeah, so I think that, like for instance, Jesus, he was able to reveal a lot, and the things that were hidden and were secret, he was able to shed light onto them. Yet, so it says found, yet not found by the children of man. So, like, he made us become aware of it, but it's still not defeated. Forever they walked and worked in darkness, hiding from the light in the darkness of night. Silently, secretly, use they their power, enslaving and binding the soul of men. So what they're talking about here is that it's like so insidious, this darkness, that they hide from the light. It's kind of describing vampires in a way, right? How vampires have to hide from the light, and that they only do their feeding at night. They do their conversions at night, if you believe in that part of the folklore. I say believe in it because, there are a lot of different parts about vampires. Like, some of them, when they kill, or sometimes like they just need to suck some blood and then they're good. Some others, they need to drain the whole body of the blood and then the person's dead. And then sometimes if a human just gets bitten by a vampire, then they become one. So that's what I'm saying, like whatever part you want to believe. Not necessarily, it doesn't really matter if you believe that vampires are real or not. That's besides the point. But what I think that Thoth is talking about here, forever they walked and worked in darkness, is this brother, what do they call them? The brothers of darkness. I think it's like the shadow, like our shadow selves. That they're always hiding from the light, but they are enslaving and binding the soul of men, because they silently and secretly use their power. So yeah, like I think it's like our shadow selves, like our shadow selves are the ones that give us our bad thoughts, right? Our negative, intrusive thoughts. It's just our shadow self. So we need to shed a light onto our shadow self so that we can get better and cease this war. Unseen they come, and unseen they go. Man in his ignorance calls them from below, and them is fully caps. So once again, unseen they come, unseen they go. And that's the thing about like society today, that we think that if we can't see something, then it doesn't exist. But there have been so many studies where we have found that humans only see like 1% of all that there is. So if this is just 1% of everything that's out there, like imagine all the things that are unseen, you know? So yeah, man in his ignorance calls them from below. So when we get scared, when we don't trust ourselves, when we let doubt creep in, then that's us calling them from below. And the them again is those dark brothers, the brothers of darkness. Every time that from here on out, when Thoth says dark brothers, I just want to let you know that it is fully caps. And I wonder why he's giving so much importance to these dark brothers. At the beginning, he talks about like there's this battle going on, but maybe these dark brothers just need that love. What if the dark brother's soul also is held in darkness? It is enslaved and bound in darkness. So what if they just need to be liberated as well? And that's how we get the yin and yang, saying that there is no such thing as pure darkness, that everybody has light within. Dark is the way of the dark brothers travel. Dark of the darkness, not of the night. Traveling over earth, they walk through man's dreams. That's kind of creepy, because I just started a new show yesterday on Netflix called The Sandman. And in it, the Sandman, he is the dream of the endless. So like he is the ruler of dreams. And he starts off by saying like, when you go to sleep, you enter my realm, the realm of dreams. And so he gets trapped. This is what happens in the first thing, so I'm not ruining anything. But he gets trapped, and the only way that he can escape is by going through man's dreams. And now he's on like a quest to try to find like his amulet or something like that. And he's been going through people's dreams to travel, but to better understand. But he also like knows demons. He also like knows about the dark stuff. And he is also responsible for the nightmares. He creates them both, the dreams and the nightmares. So it's just interesting that here we have this as well. And then I found out that the Sandman is actually based off the DC comic. So again, these stories that keep getting told millennia apart. So like that's how you know that there's some truth to it. If people are saying the same thing over thousands of years, there has to be some truth to it, even though it is just a story. Okay. I'm going to read that part again just because, like, wow. Dark is the way of the dark brothers travel. Dark of the darkness, not of the night. Traveling over earth. So I think that part, the dark of the darkness, not of the night, I think it means, like, it needs to be, like, pitch dark. Like, even at night, we can still, like, make out shapes. And especially if the moon is up, it's a full moon, like, the full moon casts shadows. So I think that's like what they're getting at here. That it needs to be like the darkness of dark. They travel through man's dreams. Power they have gained from the darkness around them to call other dwellers. Oh no, I lost my place. I tried scrolling down and then it skipped. Okay. Power they have gained from the darkness around them to call other dwellers from out of their plane. So I think now they're talking about different dimensions. So this also comes up in the Sandman, how demons are able to come into this realm because someone summons them and they create a portal to have them come through. So power they have gained from the darkness around them to call other dwellers from out of their plane in ways that are dark and unseen by man, into man's mind space reach the dark brothers. Because remember, the mind is the one that projects. So until an idea is brought to the forefront of the mind, there is no way for that idea to manifest itself into the physical world. Period. So if the mind does have that concept, then it can come into the real world. So this also, if you look around, everything that we see was once in somebody's head. Even the internet, the phone, this backpack in front of me, everything was once somebody's idea that they brought to real life. So that's why it's so important to bring it into man's mind space. And what Thoth is saying here is that they're able to do that by showing it to them in their dreams. And so that reminds me of Inception, where they had to go 3 levels deep in order to plant an idea in someone's head, and make them think that it was their own. So I think that's kind of what's going on here. These are those dark brothers. These are the shadows that are trying to arrange and trying to manipulate men, because that's how they gain their power, by controlling others. Because if we don't feel like we have our own internal power, then we have to get dark to feel that, to find that power. But if we're able to create the light within, we realize that the power is within us. Around it, they close the veil of their night. There, through its lifetime, that soul dwells in bondage, bound by the fetters of the veil of the night. So what's so interesting there is that the first time that I said veil of the night, veil was everything was lowercase. The second time, now that we're talking about being bound by fetters of the veil of the night, veil is fully capped. So when we think about a veil, we think about something being covered up, right? So maybe it's that they are covering up man's willpower, or man's internal light, and bound by the fetters of the veil of the night. Fetters is just the constraint or the limitations that the veil is then putting onto the soul. So I think it might be the perspective, talking about the mind. The mind needs a perspective in order to see. That's how we have, each of us have our own perspective. I always go back to that whole 6-9 argument. If one person is looking at it right side up, they think it's a 6, but if the other person's on the other side of it, they say it's a 9. And they're both correct, right? But here, they're talking about this kind of perspective that they put onto us with these. That's how we get our intrusive thoughts. And they're saying, and then Thoth says, mighty are they in the forbidden knowledge, forbidden because it is one with the night. And I think here we're still saying night is evil, but I said, we need it. So why are we always villainizing this darkness? And here's an interesting question, because my dissertation is looking, because even here Thoth says it, that all of his knowledge has turned into wisdom, which then led his soul to be free in the halls of Amenti and stuff like that, with the dweller. But now here he's saying that there is such thing as forbidden knowledge. So now I'm asking you, do you think that there is forbidden knowledge out there, or should everything be open for everybody? And I tend to go with the latter. I believe that there's no such thing as bad knowledge, because it's important to know. And if we have to just trust that God is leading us to the knowledge that we are meant to know. And there's always something that we don't know hidden within every single person. And if God puts that person in our path, then they are meant to teach us something. And I don't think that you could ever learn something that was bad if you were led to it. I think it's different if you're out there seeking for this kind of forbidden knowledge, or this like dark knowledge. The reason why I started watching Sandman is because it's part of the collection of Dead Boy Detectives, and that's a great show. It just came out on Netflix. It's really, really good. And they're obviously Dead Boy Detectives, so they're dead. But he died because his classmates were pulling a prank on him, making him a sacrifice for this demonic ritual that they were doing. But they all thought it was a joke. They didn't believe in it. But just because you don't believe in something, if you're saying the words, if you're doing the actions, then there are consequences. Like I said, like if you want to feel free and do the things that you want to do, then you better know the consequences. Same thing goes in that Sandman that I was just talking to you about, that that dream was captured for hundreds of years, not hundreds, for decades. And the guy who captured him had no idea what he even was, or he didn't even know all of the hurt that he caused in the world by capturing him. So it's like, I think that, I'm quoting Spider-Man now, with great power comes great responsibility. So it's the same thing goes, like power is not, knowledge is power, people say, so we can just swap that in. With great knowledge comes great responsibility. If you are being led to learn something, then you better know, you better be responsible for anything that comes from it. But with that said, to answer my own question, I don't think that it's bad to learn anything. I think it's always important to, we shouldn't be afraid of learning, is what I'm trying to say here. All right. Hark ye, O old man, and list to my warning. Be ye free from the bondage of night. Surrender not your soul to the brothers of darkness. Keep thy face ever turned towards the light. Know ye not, O man, that your sorrow only has come through the veil of the night? Ay, man, heed ye my warning. Strive ever upward, turn your soul toward the light. The brothers of darkness seek for their brothers, those who traveled the pathway of light. For well know they that those who have traveled far towards the sun in their pathway of light have great and yet greater power to bind with darkness the children of light. So this part was a little confusing. But basically, let's go over the first part. The first part is talking like, if you just keep looking at the good, then the darkness will fall away. And that's like where I'm at with my research, that I've learned that there's a difference. When it comes to freedom, there's a positive freedom and a negative freedom. A negative freedom is a freedom from these constraints, a freedom from this oppression, where the only one that can give you that freedom is the oppressor, right? Then we have a positive freedom where we look within, we become free by or through self-mastery, self-actualization, self-realization. And even though those three are very similar, there are slight they are nuances like that differentiate them. And so with that said, it is that if we keep looking towards the light, then we won't surrender our soul to the darkness of brothers. Because like how he says here, the only reason why we have sorrow is because we still have that veil of the night. And so when he says, I, man, heed my warning, always strive upwards, turn your soul towards the light. And then this is the part that I got a little confused on. So the brothers of darkness seek for their brothers who have traveled the pathway of light. So maybe this is like the yin and yang thing, like they're trying to find their counterparts to feel whole. For well know they that those who have traveled far towards the sun in their pathway of light have great and yet greater power to bind with the darkness the children of light. Interesting. So they're saying that people who have kept looking upward, then they have even more power. Oh, okay, I get it. So basically it's like okay, here we go. I was trying to find like an example to make this more clear. So think about it like you have a big fish and a small fish. Obviously the big fish is going to eat the small fish. But now what Thoth is saying is if we keep our souls towards the light, then we become the big fish and to be able to eat the small fish and to become one with it. So the small fish being darkness. But if we do surrender our souls, then we give our power to, then the big fish becomes the darkness and then it eats the light, which is the small fish. So Thoth is saying like we need to keep looking at the light so that we can bind with this darkness and basically eliminate it from the outside world by holding it inside. A long time ago, probably like 3 years ago now, here on Grounded Spirits, I had a whole episode. This was back when I was watching Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, but like the dark one, the one that was on Netflix. And there, I believe it was Nick, but somebody, they were trying to capture the devil, and they were saying that the human body is so geometrically sound that it's the only thing that can capture a soul. Whether it's good or bad, it's the only thing that is strong enough to capture it. And so I'm kind of thinking that this goes along with it, that if we can eliminate the darkness on the outside world by holding it inside, then we can become one with it and love ourselves for it. Because I think the only reason why things are so bad in the outside world is because we don't love ourselves. So we just need to learn how to love ourselves, and then there will be good stuff in the outside worlds. Like we'll be able to solve a lot of our problems. List ye, O man, to he who comes to you, but weigh in the balance if his words be of light. For many there are who walk in dark brightness, and yet are not children of light. So that's weird because dark brightness is also fully caps. That's why I like kind of paused there, because I thought it was going to be like the dark brothers again. But no, dark brightness. So let's see what this means. So list ye, O man, to he who comes to you. So like beware of like who's coming up to you. But weigh in the balance if his words be of light. But take into consideration, what words is he speaking? Like, what kind of vibe is he putting out? Like, is it of love, or is it love and light, or is it darkness? And I think this just goes, I don't think that it means like, because some people are like false positive, where they're just like, oh, I'm just going to do love and light. And then they don't even consider the dark parts, where we need to consider them both. But I think he's saying like, use your common sense to be able to differentiate between people who are being truthful to you, so that's the light, and people who are lying to you. And we see it in film and literature. We see it so often of somebody trusting somebody and then it going bad, right? So it's like we have to get better at being able to pick up who's lying and who's not. For many, there are who walk in dark brightness and yet are not the children of light. So I think he's saying that that some people, they are starting to come around to it, starting to come around to the light, but they still are holding on, or they still have some kind of guilt, some kind of shame, some kind of trauma that they have yet to work through, yet to process. And so they are not yet children of light. They are called dark brightness, where they're not like fully like with the dark brothers, but they're like on the way to becoming light. And just so that you know, light both times is fully capitalized. Easy is it to follow their pathway, easy to follow the path that they lead. But yet, O man, heed my warning. Light comes only to him who strives. Hard is the pathway that leads to wisdom. Hard is the pathway that leads to light. Many shall ye find the stones in your pathway, many the mountains to climb towards the light. So again, this reminds me of Don Juan with Carlos Castaneda. I believe this is in the first book, The Teachings of Don Juan, when he says that you have to find the path that has the most heart. If the path doesn't have heart, then it's not worth going down. And here, Thoth is telling us that sometimes that path that has the most heart is going to be hard. But we have to know that it's going to be worth it to go through these hard times. Today, actually this whole week has been, probably these last 2 weeks, because I'm like, today's barely Tuesday, that we have these things called like growing pains, that when we're growing, sometimes it's really hard and it hurts, like it physically hurts, or emotionally hurts, which then is also physical, but that sometimes pain is good. And so just because something's hard doesn't mean that you need to like take the easy way out, because sometimes that easy way out is a path of darkness. So Thoth is saying like we have to keep striving, keep going upward, keep going, and even if there are stones in our path, we're going to keep climbing up the mountains towards the light. But then it's interesting because Taylor Swift, in the Tortured Poets department, like that actual song track 2, I'm pulling out my notes now, she has like almost an identical same line, but in her case it was negative. So let me pull that out really quick. All right, here we go. You're in self-sabotage mode, throwing spikes down on the road. And so it's very similar to this, that many shall ye find the stones in your pathway, many the mountains to climb toward the light. So if you find stones in your pathway, he's saying like, it doesn't matter, you keep going. And the same thing goes for Taylor. Like, even when you're in self-sabotage mode and you're throwing spikes down on the road, but I've seen this episode and still love the show. So like, you just have to keep going, keep for Taylor, it's like, keep staying with me, keep staying in this relationship, keep growing with me, because it's going towards the light. But like in that case, because I don't think that relationships are ever bad. Like, I think that we always attract the people that we're meant to be with, the people that are going to teach us the lessons that we need to learn. So with that, like, I think it's just like, you just know when you know. Going back to Taylor in So Long London, she's like, how low did you think I would go before I would self-implode, before I'm doing this from memory, so I'm like, before I self-implode, before I got so low I had to go free, or something along those lines. But I think in relationships, you just know when it's time to move on. With me, with an ex that I had before I got married, it felt like it was sand that was falling through my fingertips. So like, that was like how I knew, like, there's nothing here to hold on to anymore. It's all just falling away. And so I think that's also how you know that you're on the wrong path. And then you have to reevaluate and say, okay, well, what path has the most heart? And that's how I found my husband. Okay, moving right along. Yet know ye, O man, to him that overcometh, free will he be of the pathway of light. For ye know, O man, in the end light must conquer, and darkness and night will be banished from light. And end is capital E-N-D. So it's like the classic story that good always triumphs over evil. And I find that to be true, because it's that whole thing that I was saying earlier with the small fish and the big fish. If we keep looking towards the light, if we keep working hard, if we keep striving, then we're going to give the power to the light, and the light will conquer the darkness. But with the whole yin and yang thing is as, well, I mean, we could even see it like with the sun and the moon. They're constantly chasing each other in a way, right? Where there's light on one side of the planet, we have darkness on this side of the planet. I'm recording this at 8 p.m., so the sun went down not too long ago, and so like darkness has come. But I know tomorrow morning that the sun is going to come back. So I think that's like what it's saying here too, that darkness and the night will be banished from the light every single time. But that's not to say that there isn't beauty in the night, there isn't beauty in the darkness. And that's me saying that. I don't know necessarily that that's what Thoth is trying to communicate here. I'm just trying to find the good in everything, basing it off that quote from the beginning of that there is no such thing between, like, there's nothing that is fully good, nothing that's fully bad. We each have both of them. So it's a matter of allowing both parts to shine. Listen, O man, and heed ye this wisdom. Even as darkness, so is the light. Okay, so here, Thoth is saying that darkness has to have its time in the sun, so to speak. That there is good in darkness. So it says that even as darkness, so is the light. That they both have their place. And that's why it's so important for us to love all sides of ourselves, and to like lean into the things that we think that aren't good, the things that we think are the darkness, because really they're in the dark just because we haven't given them attention, or we haven't given them the love that they deserve. When darkness is banished and all veils are rended, out there shall flash from the darkness the light. So it's like when the veil is lifted, we'll actually be able to see. Even as exist among the dark brothers, so there exists the brothers of light, antagonists they of the brothers of darkness, seeking to free men from the night. Powers have they, mighty and potent, Knowing the law, the planets obey. Work they ever in harmony and order, freeing the man's soul from its bondage of night. So again, it's just about that balance, that they know the law is capital, so it's that yin and yang balance that we need both. And then that's how we're going to be able to free the soul from the bondage of night, because we'll have balance, we'll have harmony, we'll be able to flow with the cosmic order, which is the law. I'm at the bottom of 38. Secret and hidden walk they also. Known not are they to the children of men. Ever have they fought the dark brothers, conquered and conquering time without end. Yet always light shall in the end be master, driving away the darkness of night. More of the same stuff. Aye, man, know ye this knowing, always beside thee walk the children of light, masters they of the sun power, sun being capitalized S-U-N, ever unseen, yet the guardians of men. Open to all is their pathway, open to he who will walk in the light. Free are they of the dark amenti, free of the halls where life reigns supreme. They is fully capitalized, dark amenti is fully capitalized, halls, life. So let's break this down a little bit more. So free are they being the brothers of light, of dark amenti. So we learned that the halls of amenti are basically like a hell, where they have the soul of the river, the river of souls, right? So free are they of the dark amenti, free of the halls where life reigns supreme. So the brothers of light, they only care for children of men who are in the light, who are alive, who are on earth. Whereas the dark brothers probably do live in the halls of amenti, probably are like demons or along those lines, dark spirits that shepherd poor lost souls. Sons are they and lords of the morning, children of light to shine among men. Like man are they and yet are unlike, never divided were they in the past. So it's saying how humans are so easily divided because, well, I don't really know why, but they are like men in the way that they are also striving for the good, and they also do have some darkness within them. One have they been in oneness eternal, and one and oneness are both fully capitalized. One have they been in oneness eternal, throughout all space since the beginning of time. Up did they come into oneness with the all one, up from the first space, formed and unformed. Basically saying that these brothers of light, and I would even go as far to say the brothers of darkness as well, that they are all one, they are all part of God, they are throughout all space since the beginning of time, they came from God, first space, formed, unformed. Given to man have they secrets, that shall guard and protect him from all harm. He who would travel the path of the Master, free must he be from the bondage of night. So once again, this is Thoth saying that knowledge and wisdom is what allows the soul to be free and to go into the light. Conquer must he the formless and shapeless, conquer must he, the phantom of fear. Oh my gosh, I love this. The phantom of fear, saying that fear is of the dark. When you are in the light, when you have mastered the knowledge needed to go into the light, fear becomes a phantom. It becomes irrelevant. Because what is there to fear? There's nothing to fear. And then there's nothing to fear, then that makes you unstoppable. And I believe that we can all achieve that. Knowing must he gain of all of the secrets, travel the pathway that leads through the darkness, yet ever before him keep the light of his goal. Obstacles great shall he meet in the pathway, yet press on to the light of the sun. So I feel this is more of the same stuff, right? Like he knows, like you have to keep knowing to be able to gain the secrets. You have to keep exploring knowledge. And again, you're not seeking knowledge, you're allowing knowledge to find you. Travel the pathway that leads through the darkness. So you're going to be in the darkness as you're learning, and that's fine, he's saying, because you're going towards something, you're going towards the light. Yet ever before him keep the light in his goal. Obstacles great shall meet him in the pathway, yet press on to the light of the sun. So that's great, you know. Hear ye, O man, the sun is the symbol of the light that shines at the end of thy road. Sun is S-U-N, and sun and light are both capitalized. But this time man is also capitalized, not fully, but just the M. But that's weird because all the other times it's been fully lowercased. So I think that now that we're getting closer to the light, that we're able to see that we raise our status, I guess, to get to the capitalization. And by the way, I don't know if Thoth only thought that men could achieve this kind of children of the light, or he's saying man in the universal sense, but I'm going to take it as the universal sense because I think that men and women both have the ability to go towards the light. Okay, so hear ye, O man, the sun is the symbol of the light that shines at the end of thy road. Now to thee give I the secrets, now to meet the dark power, meet and conquer the fear from the night. Only by knowing can ye conquer, only by knowing can ye have light. So once again, knowledge is the way. Now I give unto thee the knowledge known to the masters, the knowing that conquers all the dark fears. Use this, the wisdom I give thee. Master, thou shalt be of the brothers of night. So he's saying with this knowledge that I'm giving you, you're going to become a master so you can overcome the brothers of night. And masters, the brothers of night, they're all fully caps. When unto thee comes a feeling, drawing thee nearer to the darker gate, examine thine heart, and find if the feeling thou hast has come from within. If thou shalt find the darkness thine own thoughts, banish them forth from the place of thy mind. I love this. So it's saying like, if you feel like you're getting tempted, like look, if you have like some sort of desire, and you know it's the wrong thing to do, look inside of yourself and say, is this coming from me, or where is this desire coming from? And if it's coming from the darkness, then banish them forth from the place of thy mind, so that you can like stay true to yourself and stay on the path of the heart. Send through thy body a wave of vibration, irregular first and regular second, repeating time and time until free. Start the wave force in thy brain center. Direct it in waves from thine head to thy foot. This is so cool. So now we're talking about like frequencies and vibrations and like bringing energy in from the universe. So he's saying like to allow it to like come in through your head, basically. And it's going to feel weird at first. I think that's what he means by the irregular. Or it could be that the waves, if you have like a lot of gunk, that it may, like as the waves are going through, like let's say like, okay, like in the ocean, let's say that there's a big boulder, and so the waves are like hitting the boulder and then they go over, but not all the time does every wave go over the boulder. So it's like that on the other, if you're on the other side of the boulder, you would think that the waves are irregular because there's like something in its path. But then it'll become more regular once you start like clearing that boulder. And not necessarily if you clear the boulder, but over time, water can, there's this great quote I saw. I think I almost posted it on my story on Grounded Spirits, but it's just something along the lines of, maybe I'll post it right now, that like the waves are so powerful that they make like mountains come to their feet, or like something along those lines, that they are so powerful. But of course cannot. Here it is, I got it. It says, you can be soft and still bring mountains to their knees. And it's a wave on the reel. Actually, I'll post it like right this second. Okay, so yeah, that's the whole point though, is like we have like these waves that it like cut me off because I tried posting it as I was on here. So now I kind of lost my train of thought, but so I'm just going to reread it. So basically it says irregular first and regular second, repeating time and time until free. So it's like that this boulder is going to eliminate itself through the water, that the water's that powerful to eliminate it, or you'll walk away from it and find the waves, the frequencies somewhere else where you will feel free, or you can remove it. You can like physically remove it. And when we look around the world, how many boulders have people been able to remove? Like we build these machines, we have forklifts and drills and pulley systems and levers and like all these different like construction-y type of tools to help us remove these blockages in the physical world. So like now he's saying like, why can't we do this in the spiritual world? By allowing these vibrations to come in. Then he says, start the wave force in thy brain center. And wave force and brain center are all fully capitalized. Direct it in waves from thine head to thy foot. So again, bringing in this energy. Bob Proctor, in his abundance meditation, you can just find it on YouTube, he talks about this lavender light that's coming from space and into your head, and it goes down to your eyes and your ears and your nose and your mouth and into your throat and into your chest, and he just like lists all the different body parts all the way down to your feet, and that it's supposed to like cleanse you out. One time I did it and it felt like as if I was a car getting an oil change kind of thing. Like it was getting rid of all of the bad energy, all of the stuck energy. And a lot of it came out, it came out metaphorically, it came out spiritually, it came out emotionally, and then it came out physically too, as far as like gas or even like bowel movements kind of thing. Like it was like every time, and actually every time, this doesn't sound a little probably TMI, but every time that you go to the bathroom, that's the stuff that your body said, hey, we don't need this anymore, so we're gonna get rid of it. Like that's like the leftovers after every single bit of your body was able to take the good stuff out of that food that you ate. There's this movie on Netflix, again, cannot remember the name. DM me if you want to know, and I'll find it for you. DM me at Grounded Spirits. But basically it was like this guy was in like a prison cell in Spain or something like that. And there were chefs and they would cook this huge meal, and it would start, I forget if it starts at the top or the bottom, but besides the point. But depending on where you were, you could actually eat it fresh, or you could get it at the end where there's no food left, or sometimes prisoners would like defecate on the food or like throw up on the food so that others wouldn't be able to eat it. But it's like this, everybody was like on this like elevator. Like there are these different floors, and then there's just a hole where the food goes up. I forget if it was going up or going down, but at the leftovers, like at the last people that get to eat, they would starve, and so they would like kill each other, kill their cellmate and eat them because there just wasn't food. But in this scenario, he's saying like through each of these levels that there is this leftover. There is leftover food. There is food that is no longer good, or like all the good stuff was taken, so the rest of it we do need to let it come out of our body. So whether that's energetically or like physically through our bowel movements, it's that our body doesn't need that anymore, so we're getting rid of it. It's no longer serving us. That's the terminology. Okay, moving on. If thou findest thine heart is not darkened, be sure that a force is directed to thee. Only by knowing can thou overcome it. Only by wisdom can thou hope to be free. Knowledge brings wisdom, and wisdom is power. Attain, and ye shall have power o'er all. Pretty self-explanatory. If you have a lot of knowledge, you're going to get power, then you'll have power over people. Seek ye first a place bound by darkness. Place ye a circle around thee. Stand erect in the midst of the circle. Use thou this formula, and you shall be free. Raise thou thine hands to the dark space above thee. Close thou thine eyes, and draw into the light. So I think this is how he's saying to channel the energy. So if you put a circle around yourself just to, like, as protection, and then you put your hands up and allow the energy to come down. Call to the spirit of light through the space-time. So spirit of light is fully capitalized, but space and time, it's just the first letter that's capitalized. Using these words, and thou shalt be free. So here are the words that he's telling us to say. Fill thou my body, O spirit of life. Fill thou my body with a spirit of light. Come from the flower that shines through the darkness. Come from the halls where the southern lords rule. Name them by name, I, the seven, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By their names I call them to aid me, free me and save me from the darkness of night. Antanas, Quartas, Chital, and Goyana, Urtal, Sembata, Ardal. By their names I implore thee, free me from darkness and fill me with light. Know ye, O man, that when ye have done this, ye shall be free from the fetters that bind ye. Cast off the bondage of the brothers of night. See ye not that the names have the power to free by vibrations the fetters that bind? Use them at need to free thou thine brother, so that he too may come forth from the night. Thou, O man, art thy brother's helper. Let him not lie in the bondage of night. Now unto thee give I my magic. Take it and dwell on the pathway of light. light unto thee, life unto thee. Sun may thou be on the cycle above. And of what I just read, all the names were capitalized. Spirit of life was capitalized. Flower, halls, light, and then life, light, and sun at the end. And that's how it ends. So he's giving us a way to be able to channel this energy and what to say to allow this energy to fill us up so that we are no longer bound by the darkness. And he's saying that this is the key to magic. Once you have the knowledge that he just gave us right now to be able to do this ritual, then we will be free, and we'll be able to harness that energy to find our internal power to then enact real change in our lives and in our communities and in our world. So I hope that you learned something today. I hope that you found this chapter interesting, and I will see you next time for chapter 7. So we're about halfway done with these emerald tablets, and funny enough, we're about halfway done with Taylor Swift ones too. I think I'm doing 12, 13, 14 today. But that one I'm going to try to finish quicker just because I want to just really focus on the emerald tablets. Plus, I really want to understand the Tortured Poets Department and how Taylor views freedom and constraint, which goes into my other research. But besides the point, the next one, tablet number 7, is called the Seven Lords. So that is what we will do next time, and that's all I have for you tonight. So have a wonderful day. You'll probably be listening to this tomorrow on Wednesday when I always say that it comes out on Wednesday because I do it Tuesday night, but I had never talked about it today being Tuesday until today, so that's why I'm letting you know. And also I just wanted to mention that today is the new moon in Taurus, and so if you're listening to this Wednesday morning, actually the full moon just hit its peak maybe 40 minutes ago. So during this, so I was reading this during the peak of the new moon. So that's kind of cool, because the new moon brings in new beginnings, new opportunities, and it being in Taurus is about stability. It's about abundance. It's about luxury. And I wish that for all of you. Just like how Thoth wishes it for all of us, to have this abundance, to be in the light, to not be bound by the darkness and by our shadows that give us intrusive thoughts and make us think that we're evil when none of us are evil. There is no such thing as an evil person. We just make mistakes, and we need to forgive ourselves and forgive others for the mistakes that they make on us, at us, when they hurt us, is what I'm trying to say. So with that, I will leave you till next week. See you then. Bye, everybody.